Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining us. This is Friends of Figma Miami. There you go. Presentation working. Good. So welcome. Hola a todos. Bienvenidos. So about us, Friends of Figma. We exist to share the best practices in user experience, product design, and coming together to help each other learn and lift everyone up. We are open to everyone interested in learning more about Figma and design in general, of course, and we encourage to have fun, be bold, and foster inclusivity. This is very important to us. So a little bit about myself. I'm Beto Navarro. I'm originally from Ecuador. I'm currently the lead UX at Policy Sapient, and I have a studio called Oak Studio where I do kind of like my side gigs and my freelances with my other clients. And I'm very happy to welcome a new host in Friends of Figma starting us today. And her name is Jackie. Jackie, if you want to present yourself, go ahead.
Hi, guys. Welcome to our Friends of Figma Miami. I'm Jackie. I am a UX UI designer, product designer from Brazil originally. And I come from a heavy graphic design / art direction background, having worked for many advertising agencies as well as corporations. So glad to be here, happy to be here alongside my friends Beto and Sergii, and welcome everyone.
All right, thank you, Jackie. So as you know, Friends of Figma is kind of like a global community. We have around more than 100 city chapters worldwide, which is kind of crazy. So each city has kind of like its own chapter now. And everyone's doing events. Like if you want to go to the Friends of Figma page, you will see events happening every time. So feel free to do so. Of course, where we are hosted is on friends.figma.com/Miami, but feel free to join any of the other cities as well. Talking about the community, we are very open about the community here in South Florida. And I like to call this like the South Florida UX cinematic universe, because we are trying to connect all the communities together as kind of like the whole. So we are trying to, if anything happens here, probably the topic will be taken on the next talk on the community in general. So if you haven't do so, you're free to join these communities as well. The first one, and kind of like the spearheaded of the communities, is UX and Fajitas, which is a meetup group. Usually they have an event every first week of the month. And you can go to the meetup page at meetup.com/UX Fajitas. Feel free to join there. The other one is, of course, the South Florida chapter of the IXDA. The IXDA is spearheaded by Claudio, which is kind of like the big boss in accessibility. So their talks are very, very interesting if you want to learn about more of those topics. So feel free to join there as well. Iron Hack, which is kind of like the big, kind of like most of the UX designers, I think, in South Florida come from Iron Hack. That includes actually Jackie and Sergii. So please feel free to check them out as well. Flux, which is kind of like our Slack channel in the South Florida community, where everyone is welcome. You don't need to be necessarily from South Florida. So, and you can actually, if you're looking for mentors, this is a good resource too as well. You can go to fluxhours.com, and the mentors are free. You can just book time with them, and they are free to join for 30 minutes or almost an hour. And you can ask about anything that you want to learn about UX. So it's a good resource, especially if you're starting on the business. So Flux is another of the meetups. They have events every month as well. So feel free to join at meetup.com/SoFlux. And then the big thing coming up is actually the Figma Config, which is the actual conference of Figma 2021, which will be on April 21st this year, of course. And of course, remote, because everything is remote. And eventually they will be announcing the talks. So, but feel free to, add this on your schedule, because it's at the Figma conference. So it's very interesting topics that they will be having there on the big conference. So about today's topic, of course, our guest had the actual task to move from the design system of REEF, where he currently works, from Sketch to Figma. So he will be sharing that and basically his learnings, the best practices, and probably answer a lot of the questions that you guys have from moving from Sketch to Figma. So this is Sergii. Welcome so much tonight to share your experience. And, you know, if you want to talk a little about yourself, maybe how you landed on REEF or anything that you want to share with us. But starting right now, the floor is yours, and welcome so much. So,
okay, thanks for introduction, Beto. So my name is Sergii. You can call me Serge, and I am a product design system manager at REEF Technologies. I'm based out of Miami, and what we do, we actually try to urbanize our cities more in terms of making last mile deliveries or any type of services that can be and can located in your neighborhood. So we have 15-minute city, our motto. So to make the 15-minute city, that means that everything that every area where you live, right, can and should have access to any of the service within 15 minutes. And I was basically working at Park Street companies before I started working at REEF, and that's my third design system, overall, creating from scratch to maturity level of design system as a parent library plus documentation plus all the front end. So right now we are on our design system at REEF on maturity level as I would say that's a parent library. So it's still in progress. A lot of work, and most of the work I would say is already done. So and basically my task today is to kind of share all my experiences of moving Sketch design system from Sketch to Figma. And that's not kind of the best practices. That's my vision, my challenges, my pain points. So I think it's going to be fun and very interesting. So let me share my screen, and I'm going to start. Right, Beto? All right. Let me know if you guys can see my screen.
all good. We can see it.
All right. Let me move to presentation mode. All right. So migrating from Sketch to Figma. Moving sucks, right? So basically, doesn't matter. You move from house to apartment, from one city to another city. And I will describe the kind of moving from Sketch to Figma even more. And I would say I'll describe it an example of moving from actually country to country. That's me, the guy, 18-year-old guy living in Ukraine, and who has a task to move, actually dream to move to the United States. And so it's moving is scary, right? And right now I'm talking about actually the Sketch to Figma. It's scary, it's challenging, right? Because it's not a 1 hour task, right? It requires the extra effort. Other words, it's costly in terms of resources more than in terms of in financial terms. Because it's either the 1, 2, 3 or whole team of designers are dedicated to this task and works only to on that move, and that means that other companies' priorities can be paused or frozen or just moving very slow. And also I would say it's kind of similar, but at the same time it's very different. What I mean is that it's also vector graphic tool, right? So it's nothing super different, nothing crazy, kind of the same layout, right? But some things are different, and that's actually where all the roadblocks are. So all things basically like how it feels like to move your design system from Sketch to Figma. But the one thing is, it's just worth it. And that's why like probably a lot of companies making that move. And the first things that I want to talk about is actually why we want to move our design system or our designs from Sketch to Figma, right? And right now I'll be talking about things that after evaluation of both tools, basically why we made that decision and how basically I kind of sold the idea of like Figma, you know, moving with Figma. And one of the first things that's, of course, it's a live collaboration in between designers, right? And that you can just jump on the file, you know, communicate, work on the project, brainstorm, do some workshops, lunch and learns, and all this stuff, which is super cool. Like social part, like it's very important thing everywhere, even in design, you know. And it's like not even design, it's like I would say in design it's very, very important. And that's one of the things that Figma is pretty cool and doing a good job. And just going forward, I want to say that every single like benefit of Figma that made us move, I'll be explaining in details later on examples in Figma. Second thing is clean component system. Clean components and variants and that auto layout systems are very cool in Figma, and it makes your decision making as a designer very quick, fast, and it's more like reasonable for you. It's more logical, and you're not kind of thinking what kind of state you need or what type of component you need. It's very intuitive. Also, we'll be talking about this in details. Now the third one is a commenting feature. Yeah, you can download a plugin for Sketch and put the comments on the top of your artboards, designs, and wherever. But like Figma has it built it in, and that's pretty cool. It's also kind of plus one point to collaboration aspect of the tool, and you can share it with your clients, you can share it with your team, get some feedback, or just showcase, or of course, like that's makes a huge impact on your designs. So after you're gathering all the feedback and just working your way to, you know, look at the issue, look at the feedback, make some decision, make some changes, and resolve that comment. Another one is documentation. Also pretty cool thing that you can actually store documentation, best like kind of guidelines to the component or to style inside of your vector graphic tool. It's like super sick, honestly, like makes a lot of sense, and it just saves a lot of time and also helps you to make that decision faster than rather than going to some website or Confluence and read about, okay, how I'm going to use this button, in which cases, what's the situations I can, you know, kind of put that component, and so on. Next thing is analytics. This feature is also amazing. It's actually available only for if you have a organization license, if I'm not mistaken, and that's actually what we are waiting. This is like takes some time. And that's like pretty also sick thing. So you can basically analyze your usage of your design system per component, with the timing, with a number of cases, with all the metrics, you know, around the component, where it was used, how many times, by who. You know, that's like, it's very, very cool like management tool. You know, when you evaluating your designs, you trying to understand what works good, what works not good, and we need to replace it, upgrade it, remove it, or something like that. Another thing is great performance. Of course, that's also one of my favorites, because Sketch is getting slower and slower with every day. And funny fact that when I was preparing this presentation, basically I had to jump back to Sketch and take a couple of screenshots for comparison. and this crashed on me. So it's like, I was like, okay, I got it. Then next one is it's cloud-based, right? So you can access it just without having actual software installed on your computer. Right now, nowadays in 2021, remote work life. So that's like very important thing that you can access your designs everywhere from any machine. And plus on top of it, it's also pretty cool with when you're sharing it with your client, right? So you don't need to do some extra steps and kind of you're basically removing the roadblocks out of the way of your like client or some customer. Another thing is, of course, the built-in prototyping. Sketch has tons of plugins around it, but it's built in, it works nice. It works just enough to hand off your designs to the product team or to the developers. And this is like not only a feature that helps you just to basically make your workflow much better and faster. It's also around the price for it. I mean, the cost of tools to your company, right? If you have a built-in prototyping tool, let's say, you don't need to use like Prototype or like InVision, right? So you basically cutting the costs and using only one tool for everything. Next thing is building handoff tools, right? The same thing. You need to use Zeppelin, right? Or you can use InVision to hand off your designs to the developers, or you can just move to Figma and everything will be cool. And the last one is, of course, a cross-platform service, like vector graphic tool that your team, right? Also 2021, COVID, your team can be everywhere in the world right now. We have teammates in Serbia, in India, a lot of teammates on the west coast of states and in Miami as well. So we work from different locations, kind of cultures, trends around the softwares and stuff, right? So maybe our colleagues from Serbia, let's say, they have Windows machines, right? So they can just use a Figma and not just use it and but also participate and collaborate with us and live like live, And here's a couple of things that how our the kind of structure, tool structure was before, when we basically have a React and CSS component libraries, right? We have we was using Sketch with a kind of combination of Sketch and Abstract for version control, and also we have documentation, our front end in Storybook and our back end in Registry. Right now, after moving to Figma, that's what we kind of in the process right now, but that's what we're trying to, what we're expecting. Just having Figma for everything, version control, prototyping, handing off, and everything basically. So that saves a lot of cost and time and switching between tools, right? Because I mean, every time when you installing your new operating system on your laptop, right? So your Abstract should be up to date, your Sketch should be up to date, your InVision should be up to date, Zeppelin should be up. There's a lot of different moving parts that should kind of keep up with the operating system and with the updates in order to work very nicely. And in Figma, it's cloud-based, first of all, so it's up to date just like that, and it's only one tool. And a very, of course, important question. So how are we gonna move from Sketch to Figma? We talk about the design systems. Probably you guys expect some very cool magical plugin, right? That within one click can just take your sketch files, convert all of your components, styles, and boom, you have it on Figma. So guess what? There's there's no plugin like that. There is no like magical solution of this kind of problem. Why? Because we have some challenges when we trying to actually take the sketch file, especially symbol like design system file, and move it to the Figma. And I'll talk about those challenges right now. And but before I just basically we can talk about this right now. So first thing, what I noticed, that's all my pain points. Basically, symbols migration happens like very poorly. So you'll see your things just off, right? Your symbols basically not transferring right. Your overrides are missed or just messed up, So just like when I want to open first time using using just a drag and drop kind of stuff, it was like really bad. I'll start talking to people how I can migrate better, and one person gave me advice about kind of save whole sketch file, like not whole sketch file, go to sketch file, take your artboard and save it as a SVG and then open it in Figma. So basically not kind of moving the sketch format file to Figma, but actually saving it in parts or in pages. I would say it also works good, and just opening there. But actually, I mean, it basically transfers, I would say, roughly 40% of data, but that's not even about percentage. It's about the rework more, like kind of cleaning up and stuff. So yeah, second thing was some styles was missing, and basically we had like around roughly like 25 styles in our sketch design system, and only like 7 was like transferred and kind of showing up in the right way in Figma. Shadows was the most like painful thing. It was just completely off. It was not shadows, it was rectangles with some gray color on it. I don't know what's wrong with it, but I did a couple of times and I talked to people and they had actually the same issues. Next thing is in case you're gonna use that thing, like you take the SVG or you take the sketch file and just open it with Figma and you clean everything up. But the thing is, you need to reconnect your relink your styles again in most of the cases. Since styles are missing, everything will be messed up, and you basically will also spend time to relinking it. Also, another thing is a component as a main, I would say, main pain point is the component override system in Figma and Sketch is different, like completely different. Figma basically takes your, I would say Sketch takes your component as a kind of one thing, but a lot of like moving parts inside of it. So you can kind of be more flexible, I would say there, but that flexibility actually doesn't matter much. It just makes your things more complicated, right? And if we as a designer designing some good designs and thinking that we design good user experience and we providing this to the users, so why we need to overcomplicate our workflow inside of the company? So basically it's like nonsense, we're trying to simplify design and make it more user-friendly for our users, clients, but we doing the bad things for us and just overcomplicating our design systems and stuff. So that's another thing. Another pain point was most of the constraints within artboard would not be saved. Also some weird glitch with it as well. Resizing doesn't work properly in components, even just like not even complex components, I would say. So something related to the constraints. Also, auto-naming convention in Figma it's like auto-naming system in Figma actually will mess up your naming convention in Sketch. Why is that? Because Figma has all that hierarchy of naming So first, like prefix of your name of the symbol will be actually name of your page. Then if you put your component inside of that page and inside of some artboard, so artboard name will be second kind of variable in your name. And then you will have name itself of your variant, like not variant, actually like component set, right? And then you have name of your variant. So naming like convention in Figma is like, it's pretty cool when you use the Figma, but in terms of like transferring, migrating from Sketch to Figma, you will see a lot of like mess, around it. So yeah. And another thing is like auto layout works like differently. First of all, it was introduced to Sketch like not also kind of, I would not say relatively, it was not a long time ago, and I would say that's just MVP of that feature, because it was just introduced. It was cool to have, but I know a lot of designers didn't use it a lot, especially in design systems, because it was like not really intuitive, I would say. It's hard to kind of understand how to build component using that auto layout thing. And in Figma, auto layout is like amazing thing. And I never like, my first question when I'm building something, can I auto layout this component or design element? If yes, then I'm doing it. If no, or there's some reasons why I don't want to or I can't, then I'm just saying, okay, I'm not gonna do auto layout for it. So yeah, and I'll show you example of how basically components look like when you going from Sketch to Figma. So this is a drop down, like you see the size of component are different, so that can cause the spacing problems as well. The toggle is just completely off, and it's nested component. So basically, it's a label and the label as a style and a toggle as a symbol, and it's everything. This is a symbol, so you can just take a look and see how much work you need to do to clean up stuff, especially all of these shapes. So Sketch is like super suck in it. I mean, it's like very, very hard to kind of do the charts, graphs, and all the progress bars and stuff. And that's basically what was my first experience with it when I, transfer it, and it's like, wow, that's like really bad. And in terms of that's basically example how you see your symbols transferred. And then I'll show example of how also component overrides difference, how it look like. All we know that this is like basically symbol thing. It's like very complicated, right? It starts with a label symbol, and then you have a symbol, like that's a main symbol, right? Then you have all your nested symbols, and it's like weird hierarchy that you can keep up, with. So that's why I was using the kind of the icons, at least, to identify in Sketch, to identify the like what is what, like right away. Because if you look at the override panel like right away, you can just get confused, and you don't know what you can override, what you cannot, and that makes things like very complicated. And look at Figma, right? So it's like pretty straightforward. We have a type, it can be primary, secondary, tertiary. We have a states, we have a sizes, and we have content, label only, with label, no label, or label only, like I mentioned. Yeah. So basically, this is like one way. If you go to the pass option 1 to actually transfer, take your SVG files to Sketch files and move it to Figma, you will basically hit the wall, because, and not only one. That's basically everything that I mentioned. That's like very time consuming and very hard to clean up. It just takes so much time. So I took first of all, I talked to different people who to my mentors and basically people who is in this field very long time and working with the design systems, like what kind of plugins to use and what to do, how actually to migrate my design system from Sketch to Figma. And basically I spent like a couple of days facing all the challenges that I mentioned before. And then after that, I went with the option 2, which in my for me, it's like really makes more sense and it's more cleaner and just, you know, just I would say even faster. You know, I would say if I will do the success rate and kind of pull some metrics, you know, I would say that's either at the same time or faster. So my option number 2 is burn it all. So take your design system and just have it. You can transfer it to Figma as a reference, but you basically, I mean, that's like really hard to clean it up, and it's so time consuming that you will faster if you know the Figma well. You better spend some time to learn it for a week and then just start, you know, creating those components and make it smart, right? Use the auto layouts, use the variants, use the documentation, and everything, like every single benefit that I talked about like before earlier, you can just use it and make it work for you better. So my steps basically start after, first of all, first step should be before this, evaluate your work, evaluate the tool, learn it, right? And like understand, is it good time for your company to do the switch? Sell it to your like management, right? You know, just do some research and make sure that you're ready and you have some team or people who just dedicated to that task. And then you start with the structure of your design system. Structure, what I mean is basically you need to, if you didn't follow some framework structure in your previous in Sketch design system, you need to actually start doing it in Figma for sure. And like my kind of structure was following the atomic design principles. It's a very nice book by Brad Frost. If you didn't read it, about the design system, it calls Atomic Design. And basically, that's I would say that's like very minimums that you need to read to understand how atomic principles works. So basically, we starting with the atoms, and then we have molecules, then we have organisms, and we have layouts, templates, and then we have a page at the end of the day. And every next level of atomic design system is based on the previous level. So button, that's a molecule, button based on atoms, that's a color, label of button, shape of the button, border of button, shadow, and so much more. And you starting from the very bottom, and then you moving slowly to the pages. Second thing, what I would say, do your design inventory, because 100% you will find some elements in your current design system that not in use, or it needs some upgrades and stuff. So since you making that big move and migrating your design system from Sketch to Figma, I would say that's the best time to evaluate again, do the design inventory, create a list of the things that you're moving, right? Literally like button, primary. You can start with the naming convention also there as well. Kind of, you need to prepare the good best practices before you name stuff. You need to have whole naming convention system already predefined, you know, that you can just move all of this and name stuff while you creating stuff in vector graphic tool. So create that list, use some project management tool. Some people uses Jira, like Asana, depends on the company, but I just went my way and just took the simple Trello and start creating cards. One card, one component, and we have Kanban. So to do, in progress, done. That's it, super simple. And you just slowly follow and do the component after component. And then do your research also about the Figma, right? Learn how to use it, because that's very important. The best way to learn Figma, it's super simple. Just build a design system in Figma. So yeah, that's my advice. And create styles. Yeah, so your styles also works differently than in Sketch. You can have, and it's, I would say, in my opinion, smart type of styles. So you basically can stylize more stuff than you did in Sketch. You can do typography like in Sketch, colors like in Sketch, borders. I already forgot if you can, but we didn't have borders as a styles because that's like basically the color. But you can do it in Figma, which is super cool, and you can do grid in Figma also as a style, which is super cool. And you can do effects, which equals shadows, elevations, depends how you call it, which is also super cool. So you don't need to create all of that, how I did it in Sketch. I was creating actually the shape, which was transparent, but has a shadow. So you need to pull that shadow every time and lay it under the component card and stuff. So that's how, like, the best practice how people do this to kind of standardize and add it to design system. In case with Figma, you just save it as a style, just like you did with the colors, typography, and so on. And that's it. You apply it just like that. And last step, which is the most time-consuming, is kind of recreate each component one by one. It's like it takes some time, but trust me, I would say if you compare the timing of cleaning up and dealing with that stuff, you'll be equals, or creating a new, like recreating your design system in Figma is even faster with the help of auto layout and variations. So yeah, and I want to share as well the useful plugins that I was using during that process. So I'll start with this one because this one is related to option 1. If you want to move your design system using kind of moving actually file from Sketch to Figma, you can use the style organizer. That's basically batch style applicator that you can link your styles real quick and organize your styles like with one clicks with kind of batches, so you select couple, you apply couple, so you need to do it one by one. So if you go with the first option, which I don't recommend, this plugin will be probably the best help for you. And so I'll share some general things that help me to build a design system in Figma. Let's rename it. Everybody knows. I'm not sure if I need to spend more time. It's basically just batch renaming artboards and layers. You should have something accessibility related, able or Stark. It does the contrast test and a lot of other accessibility tricks, tests, checks. And Design System Organizer, super cool thing. It's just organizing your components, helping you to also create different variations within. It's like super cool. Another one, number 4, is a Super Tidy. Super Tidy is just organizing your artboards in terms of make it nice and tidy. You can set the spacings around it, distance around the artboards. You need to keep your design system nice and tight, and just your designer and all the designers and team and your managers and even clients or even product managers can easily find stuff if they need to. Then another one, which also I would say it's the most valuable for me in terms of building design system in Figma, that's number 5, Toolabs DS Manager, Design System Manager. So this guy, super cool, and it generates the token library for you based on your design system. And I know it's a couple of other stuff in Sketch. I found a couple of them also in Figma, but they really works really weird and not showing you, truly what do you have in terms of tokens in your design system. This guy, I would say, catches 95% of tokens that you want to actually hand off to your developers. Also, I'll stop on this one in details later on. And you can, if you go to the chat, Jackie, she'll share these names of plugins with you in the chat, so you can guys install it if you want to. And now I'm gonna jump to the Figma file and basically show you what I have. So first thing, so I basically created some sample design system based on our design system, and that you guys can understand and see how everything is done. So first of all, we have a cover, right, that you can see where is that. Then second thing is our grid in Design System. So grids are stylized, and we have it here. We have for desktop and we have for mobile. I visualize the grid using a grid visualizer plugin as well. It's like I'm not using it every day, so that's why I didn't recommend. So you can just click on artboard and click on the plugin, and it will generate the frame with the columns, and actually it's even shown when it's off. So if you click here and you remove the grid, you can still see it. It's just matter of like and then so talking more about the grids, right? So you can create the different types of grids for your devices and just apply it with a one click, just like you applying the your colors or something like that, right? So it's pretty easy. We in our company we are using MacBook Pro, I guess, and then you can just click and apply grid and work with it. And then I create the spacing starting with a base 16. We have smaller 8, so we use an 8 pixel grid as a vertical rhythm, and 12 column grid and 24 pixel gutter, and 120 margin for desktop, and 4 column for mobile. And that's what we have related to the grid. I'll go just through the design system like really quick, that you guys understand how it was done. We have some accessibility part to it. That's basically accessibility statement and accessibility roadmap, which is very important if you don't want to get your ass sued. So yeah, and very interesting part is the foundations. So here is the foundations for our product. It's like I changed the color, so don't mind. Maybe it's not matching. I was just trying to have some material that can show you to you guys more in terms of structure, not in terms of beauty, and make it pretty. So see how my pages are named. So, and this actually should be, your page name will be, like mentioned before, included into your naming convention, and it will be included automatically by Figma. So I used the atomic design principles. I had foundations, molecules, organisms, templates, and these three is, I'll talk about it later. And so basically the colors, right? We have colors, different colors in here, elevations and overlays. Everything is stored here. So everything in the foundation page, when you click outside of any artboard, Figma will show you what is stylized in this file. So first thing is the text styles, right? It's in here. So we can look in here and see we have different text styles for every single button that's named based on where this text style is in use. We have some desktop titles, mobile titles, then body text, regular and bold, and body. Second, also regular and bold. And our colors, right? So backgrounds, primaries, content, and so on. And that's our elevations, right? Resting, hover, and floating. And I showed you a grid already. So this is basically the foundation part of our design system. So our vision, how I'm going to answer the question that was asked by one of our members in the beginning of this meetup. How you work, how your design system works with within different teams, and how you guys communicate and collaborate. So in our case, we have different sub products. We have products, I would say, one company, different products, and different products has different branding. So our vision is to basically create a design system, which is this one, which will serve as a base, as our foundation, right? And then based on that, we're gonna just swap the themes, right? One theme equals like one branding identity, right? So for this one, these foundations, and this has these colors, elevations, typography, logos, and icons, right? For example, if we want to add another design system, right, we're going to reuse molecular level, organism level, template level, but we are going to add another foundations level and name it differently. So let's say we're going to name this one foundations sample, because that's our product name, let's imagine. And then we're going to duplicate this page and create another foundation Uber Eats, right? And in Uber Eats foundation, we have the same artboards, frames, I'm still calling it artboards, with different colors, with different overlays, maybe elevations, typography, right? Iconography, because that's a part of atomic level as well, and illustrations, right? So that's like basically our vision, right? So, and then this way we can scale, we can add more foundations and kind of just swap the themes in with just using tokens, like operating with the tokens, like, okay, this token set is for a sample, this one for Uber Eats, this one for Uber Drive, this one for other company, right? That we're working with. So it's like pretty cool when you agency, right? And you have different clients. This works the same way. All right, then we have molecular level. Also, I'll be kind of super quick, but I'll explain how I like work with the variations in a bit. So we have buttons, inputs, controls, badges, status labels, avatars, dividers, loaders, scroll bars, and everything just made with a highly reusable two features of Figma. It's an auto layout, and the second one is variants. And another thing is like another basic level is organisms, right? So we have tooltips here, some card organisms, then some table organisms, right? Then we have navigation, then we have charts, filters, models, and templates is like kind of work in progress right now. So we have only side drawers and stuff in here. And so let me then go to every benefit that I mentioned and kind of show you on example, like live collaboration. I don't think I need to explain this one. Everyone knows that you can just invite someone, an icon will appear here, and you can collaborate with like 10 people and just switching the views, following someone's screen, right? So it's like pretty cool. Clean component system. That's basically I'm talking about the variants, right? So it's like much simpler, and I'll show you, let's say, an example of the button, right? So this is a button, and we have it in two different sizes, large, small. We have it in 3 different variations: primary, secondary, tertiary, and we have like 2 different subtypes, I would say, with icon, you know, and without icon. And also kind of our link that's technically a button, which is button without a shape around it, but it's also part of our button set, right? So when you click on it in here, so you'll see the button set, the component name is actually button, and it has a different variations, and its names of these variations auto-generated, and you can just use it simply by, you know, pulling the button and just type in it and find it here. And so what cool in Figma is that you have only one component in your like only one master component in your design system library. Technically, the designer sees only one. You see, designers cannot see all of them because we don't want designers to see. The designers needs to see the components that he actually or she actually can use, and that's like pretty cool. And another thing that I mentioned, a benefit, is a documentation. You see, you can see documentation even without like selecting it. So just hover on the top and see, okay, that's buttons, that's types. Okay, I'm looking here, I'm looking for links. So I have a link there on a very almost very button, link default. That means that that's like cool. I wanna, I want to pull this component out. So I'm pulling it out, and then I'm clicking here and also again, I see the documentation. I can read documentation right on the spot, which is like super cool. Honestly, like that's the best thing ever. And then you have clean component system, right? So you have a type. All right, we're gonna go with secondary. All right, I don't want to have a large size. I'm gonna go with small. Zoom in. Then okay, small size. No, I'm gonna go back to large. Then I'm gonna do the content. Content, I want to have an icon with label, and that's it. So only one component under the bottom label, and that's it. Yes, of course, you need to kind of work through all the variations and create them, and which is like not really complex thing to do. You just need to more like thinking more like kind of systematically, you know, kind of like it's architecture, I would say. It's close to architecture of design elements, not like it's problem solving, of course, but you need to kind of see the whole picture, and first of all, why you need a component, and which instances of this which variants of these components would need in future, right? How design is gonna use it in which situations. So that's what important. And then you can just, you know, switch the, you know, states as well, disabled, hover, loading, right? So it's like pretty nice. That's like the power of variants. If someone is interested, I can, you know, show in details how that variance works, but I guess I don't have a lot of time to go that deep around it. If I'll have some extra time, I'll show. Then if we come back to the layers, I'll see what's next is a clean component system, commenting feature, right? So pretty cool. Let's say you're working on designs, right? So you're just switching here and you like, hey, this color sucks. And you can like, you know, do me. You can tag some designer and it's gonna pop up here and I'm gonna work through it, fix it, and then I'm gonna click resolve and it just disappear. Super cool. The same works with the testing, with the reviews, right? From your product team, reviews from your boss, just team reviews, right? So sometimes you throw your prototype or designs into a team chat and like, hey guys, give me your feedback, right? So you don't need to gather feedback and store it somewhere in messages or somewhere. You storing your feedback right on the spot, right on the top of your designs and right in the spot where that challenge or concern actually occurred. So that's very important. Another thing is, so I talked about documentation, right? How to add the documentation. Let's talk about this now. So when you create in a component, you basically click in on the component and you see that description field. Let me show you an example because probably it's hard to understand. So let's say this is a component, right? So I'm going to create a component on it. And then once I create it, I have a description field. So here I'm typing, okay, this is rectangle and use it when you need, I don't know, like to create wireframe. So that's one of the guidelines, right? And when you click, like you just save it, it saves automatically. And once somebody will pull the instance of a component, person will see that documentation right on the spot, which is like nice. A very powerful thing. Another thing is analytics. So around the analytics, I don't have a organization access thing in my personal machine. So basically, I'm going to show you the small video, like it's really 40 seconds, that you guys understand.
Design System Analytics in the Libraries tab of your organization. Here you can visualize component insertions week over week.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you hear the sound, but I'm just going to talk through. So you can access your analytics around your design system just with one click, going on a project to your organization, click on libraries, and have all the graphs and usage of that component. I'll probably just mute this. I'm going to talk through it. So you can select the library and compare. If you have a couple of libraries, you can compare usage of that. And then you can see the list of all your components, see the instances where total, how many was in use, how many inserts, how many detaches. Like this pretty nice, feedback, this pretty nice data. You see your system, design system works or not, what works, and how it works. So it's like pretty powerful thing. So it's like so much, it will impact your design system like quality so much that you will be super happy. But only, like I said, that's with the organization license. Another thing is like great performance. Yeah, right. Mentioned. So it's easy. Figma just faster. That's it. Then cloud-based. Yeah, cloud. You see I'm using the browser, or I can open it with an app. I recommend to use app because it's much faster, and like I guess it eats less operating memory. So yeah, and then what else? Yeah, the building prototyping and building handoff tools, right? So it's easy as just click on the share button, enter email, and set actually the permission type. Person can edit or person can view only, right? So we can copy link and just insert it as a view only, and then you see I have a permission, right? So it's not gonna open it in the right way, I guess. So yeah, I mean, you all know that it just switches the view from design to the inspect when you're sharing something, or to the prototype if you're sharing prototype, and it gives your developers like whole assets list and all CSS snippets, right, about stuff. So you can click on the button and just inspect it, right? Also read the documentation and inspect it, see CSS. So it's like super cool. And you don't need to use extra tool. You don't need to pay for a tool, which is also amazing. And also very important in terms of inspection, your developers can actually, if you forgot to make something exportable, your developers can set that exportable things by themselves, which is nice, right? Then what else? The prototyping also like pretty enough for if you want some robust prototypes. Yeah, you can use a protopy. I love it so much. So, but it's like very flexible and very cool. But for sake of handoff, communicating your design decisions to your team, that's like more than enough, I would say. So another thing that I want to show is a couple of like complex components that actually experience the challenges. So first thing in Figma, I'm going to talk more about the minus system pluses, right? One of the things you need every time when you have a task to create some component, you need to think through how robust, how complex you want to have that component, because you need basically to find that golden medium, right? Find that golden dot, not too complex and not too simple, that you can serve your purpose. Because sometimes you can end up with so I'll just show an example. So this is a golden ratio, I would say, around the model window, right? Model component. So this is a variations that I have. So it's like 5, 3, 6, 12, right? But before I was like super focused on it, and that's basically, I have it on archive, and that's basically what I created. So I basically said, this is your starting component, and this is as much as you can do with the component. So adjust for your needs, right? And in order to actually make it so robust, you need to create tons of variations. Look how many variations that. So we're debating about this, and the decision was made that it's too confusing for designers. So even like just looking at it, yes, you can see only when you type model, you can see only one component like that. But anyway, we just want to be on the safe side. And let me switch to design. Let's play with this component. So let's go back to here, and we're gonna boom. So that's another thing. That's a Boolean operations. That's a really little toggles that makes your life much easier. You want to add the image to your model, toggle on. You want off image and do icon, go icon. Then you want to change your icon, click on icon. You go here and you're like, okay, I want to have plus and play icon, right? You're like, oh no, I want to remove the icon. I want to add the image and I want to add the form. Oh, I don't want a form. Then I want a subtitle, without, with, without. So it's like pretty cool and easy way, and like just cuts your decision making in half, I would say. It's like nice. And of course that results with speeding up your workflow. It makes you more agile, which is very important for a business in 2021. And I want to also show you cool thing about the icons. So you see how you can use the invariants in terms of icons. So I have 3 different variations of every icon: duotone, solid, and outlined. And when I'm pulling some icon, right, I can switch it from duotone to outline, then to solid, etc. So just, it's like super flexible. And another thing what I want to talk about is, we've done this one, the kind of page structure, right? So that's what was proposed, and like it was like nice page structure for your design file, not for a design system file, but for design files. How you can organize your Figma file like really nicely. You have a cover, you have a master workflow page, right? And you have some tickets, like you can insert a ticket name in Jira, let's say, or Asana, or wherever. And just title your page, and basically you can work on that one ticket, second ticket, third ticket. But anyway, you need to commit into the master user flow kind of flow, and also you need to commit to master prototype. Then you have a separate page for components. Very important thing in terms of design system, because that's a part of design system maintenance, and it's pretty cool, works in Figma as well. So we basically working on this flow right now, how to update, delete, or add a new component to the design system, and like ideas around it that designers will just, if they need to create some component, there are new designs that we don't have in design system, they can store these components in the components, under components page, right? And then we can talk about, is it reasonable to add this component or not? Maybe it's some substitution or some adjustment of existing component, and so on. So, and it makes your just file organized. You have archive as well, you have research where you can put everything, and then you have inspiration page, and you have some sandbox and other resources. Yeah, that's another thing. Then plugins, I guess Jackie shared with you, so you guys should have it. Another like small tip, right, around the components in Figma. So sometimes you need to kind of create the component in Figma, but you not necessarily want the components to be seen by designers when they pulling components out from the design system, right? So for this matter, you can use the underscore. So when you put the underscore in your naming convention before actual name of the component, it's not going to be visible. So you see, I have a nav component in a design system, but it's just nav component. I'll show you an example here. It's just basically design system related structure navigation. So it's not a product design system component. It's design system component for design system. And I have it like underscore nav. And but when I try to find it, nav, see, there is no nav. That's utility bar. Oh, actually it is. That's weird. They did something. They changed something, but before it was not showing. Maybe just showing for me. but that definitely works, or they changed something. But I was checking it, and when designers try to find some of these, they cannot see it. So this is pretty cool. Then what else I have here? Yeah, talking about documentation. So that's basically the screenshot how our checkbox, right, looks like with a documentation related to it. Let's say you want to pull the checkbox, and we did, and then we read documentation around it. We can hide label, add label, do the status of checkbox, inactive or disabled, and so on. All right, Beto, how much time we have?
If you want, we can start asking some questions. There are some questions that people ask. I guess we can start with Erin. Erin would like to know, how will Figma handle theme-able design systems, like, for example, like for agencies who have an underlying product UI that gets customized per client? So kind of like you explain in a little bit, like if you have Uber or whatever other service, but if probably you want to go deeper there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to kind of explain again. If you need in details, just ask a more direct question. Like, I just want to make sure that you guys understand that. So we have one base design system, right? It's like foundational design system. And then our components are foundation level, like buttons, inputs and stuff, right? Organism level, which are like models, graphs, filters, navigation, and template level are reusable anyway. Like, it doesn't matter how many sub brands we have, right? And then we create in a foundation page for every single product. So for foundations, for Uber Eats, it will have one colors, right? I'll show an example of Uber Eats. We have different typography, right? We have logos, icons. But for Uber Drive or just regular Uber, I mean, we have different stuff. So we can create another page with the foundations Uber, and also have different colors, different typography, different elevations, logos, and so on. That's good flow for a company with the sub products. But I guess with the agency, the easiest thing is to host a couple of design systems. So you basically have one, right? And if you go to design system library, if I'll publish it, it's going to be design system you can toggle on and toggle off. And you can have Uber Eats design system, right? Then you can have Uber design system. Then you have Leaf design system, right? And depends what team you're working on, you can toggle on or toggle off that design system. Let's say you work on with Uber Eats designs flows. So you don't need to see Lyft and you don't want to see Uber regular. So it makes sense to turn others off and keep your Uber Eats on, and that's it. And when you will start searching stuff, it's going to be only associated with Uber Eats. Okay,
cool. So another question, I know that you mentioned Avo and Stark as plugins for accessibility. Do you have any other recommendations for accessibility checks on components, stuff, or images other than Avo and Stark?
I would say I don't have a plugin, but I have kind of the processes. So the first one, of course, you need to have like accessibility statement and accessibility roadmap. That's at least basic two things that you need to have, and kind of commitment message, right? That you, and with the deadlines, right? That you cover your ass, so you will be, very compliant with the web accessibility standards. Another kind of process that you need to create the tokens, right? In terms of like, you need to include the accessibility tokens as well inside of your design system, which means alt text, right? Alternative text under the image, or some closed captioning, comments and so on. So this actually leads me to one of the plugins that I mentioned before, but forgot to explain. This is a Tool Labs design platform. So it basically generates your tokens. So let's say we have a design system, right? That's like legit design system. And we want to generate the tokens out of it. So we go to that plugin. And this plugin will generate like accessibility also tokens, like all the alt text that if you want to add them. And okay, we're gonna do the design system library, Figma and friends. I guess I already see used in this Figma document. So I already generated. So when you go here, you will see different tokens, but this is a kind of plugin view. I'm going to show you how it looks like on a kind of website view. Same. So basically, also you have web version. You choose in the project, and then what you have here all of the tokens that was in use in the design system. You have colors, gradients, right? Shadows, typography, and like different stuff. So you can add stuff, remove stuff, you can adjust it, generate the spacing also for devs. You can add the icons in here. Don't think that's a good idea, because icons just either font awesome, or you send in the SVG packages to the developers, or make it exportable. So it's like cool, complementary, cool, but we don't actually use it a lot. And the cool thing is you can add also the kind of, you generate the tokens, and you can add the like kind of widgets for your developers, right? So let's say we're gonna have token export widget, right? And we're gonna choose the colors. Boom. So we have colors. We can switch to JSON, and we have all the tokens generated. And you can actually adjust all of these tokens in here by export tokens. So you can go to JSON file, and you can make any adjustments. Even you can create the naming format, right? You don't want to go with a camel case. The developer likes, I don't know, like kebab, right? Boom, everything is converted to kebab. So it's like super helpful plugin, and we already on that stage where our developers passed this stage, so they actually added the tokens, I believe, to our design system, the repository, I mean, and they like had zero questions around it, really. So which is pretty cool, Sometimes you're going back and forth, and this is like a couple of clicks, of course you're reviewing it and going through, but yeah, that's like pretty awesome.
And this tool labs is a service? You need to pay for it?
It's free.
Okay.
But if you want to collaborate with it, it's not free. So, but it's like super cheap, I guess, a couple of bucks. Apply for early access.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but it's like no teams. You don't need to pay. So if you one user, you generated it and you hand it off to the developers. You see it share, and you can copy. And this is how it looks like for devs when you share with them. See? So it's like pretty nice. And then they can download, copy. They can switch what they want. You can even switch from light and dark theme. And you can add a logo in here, kind of customize it, make it more cool. So it's like really nice tool, yeah.
Okay, cool. So, So another question from Christine is, what is SPL that you have on your system?
Good question. So let's go back. SPL, that's just short. That's an abbreviation of sample. Sample. What is that? It's actually called global namespace. So in order to scale for us in future, this is gonna be our prefix in naming convention for our product. If you add tomorrow Uber, it's gonna be UBR, and we're gonna create that also the foundation and styles, and then we will have here UBR SPL, and then when you see components in here, you also can see SPL as a sample or UBR for Uber.
Okay, cool, awesome. So hopefully that answers that, Christine. And Carlos would like to know, how do you communicate component updates to other teams?
Okay, so right now, like I mentioned, we're working to create that maintains design system process around it. And for now, we're communicating it through the main kind of communication channel, which are chat, right? we have a channel around it in there, and where you can any updates to the team, you can read it there, and all team can see it. We're using Teams. Some people use Slack, Google Chat, doesn't matter. Everything works the same. But like our vision is to actually move closely and towards the Jira and make it like more official. We'll see. We need to test it, and this is like that's something that we kind of researching about.
Okay, got it. I mean, the other way too is like when you update your library, you get a notification that something happened.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's a benefit. Thanks for reminding me. That's a benefit of Figma. You have a notification that something will change, and actually can review the updates to the design system. It looks like this when you update. It looks like just like that.
Exactly.
And you can even on the hover, I guess on the hover you can read you see, you can read the documentation around this as well right away. So your day can start with, okay, something was changed, right? You open the Figma, you go through every single component because that's valuable. Something was changed, that's important. You need to know as a part of the team, right? So you can go through, see what's changed and read what's changed, That's pretty nice.
Yeah, usually you get a notification on the bottom corner of the screen where you have that little blue dot on that book icon that indicates that something has changed on your system.
We just duplicating that information in the chat to make sure that everyone gets it.
Does anyone else have questions? Because those are the questions that we have so far. We have 8 more minutes, so if anyone wants to ask more questions, or you want to add anything else, Sergii?
I mean, I don't know. If you guys interested in terms of like variants, I can just build the button with you if you like, but I'm not sure.
For me, it was like really interesting that I didn't know about the analytics on, I guess, on
very
company accounts. I didn't know that existed even. So that was really interesting to learn. So Mika is asking, do your copywriters use Figma to collaborate with designers?
Yes, definitely. So I had to basically hide this page. I do want to show that's like very sensitive one. And we have just a page with content guidelines, voice and tone, and so on. So we also posting it here, given examples, given every like voice and tone comparisons, do, don't do, like say colleagues, not friends, because we try to be more official than casual, So it's like also that everything lives within the Figma. That's why it's super cool. You don't need to switch from Confluence because to read documentation, to Sketch, to Abstract to see that version control. Then you want to go to Figma or like to Zeppelin to hand off. Then you want to go to InVision to kind of hand it off. And I have a couple of left slides, which is cool. That's exactly a couple of minutes. I forgot that so the takeaways basically. We missed the most important one. So for that's the 4 main that I noticed. So for creating and handling design system files in Sketch, we spent like 5 hours and we measured it, and it's like basically now we like doing the same amount of work within 2 hours. So it's like 2 times even more faster. Also, communication within the team was improved, right? Because of commenting, because of documentation part of Figma, because of like handing off, and just it's pretty nice. Then also without like you don't need to move from Sketch to InVision and like to Zeppelin. So it's also saves the time if you take whole design process like for a designer, right? And of course the cost. So since that's like a kind of expectation because we didn't cut the license to Sketch yet, but that's expectations. When we did the math, we will be saving we will pay 40% less per year. So which is also super cool because we cut on InVision. We will cut on InVision. We will cut on prototyping tools. We cut on Abstract and then Sketch as well.
Yeah, because you're cutting three software or four softwares in one that basically has all those features. We have another question from Nishita. Do you have a transition period of using both the Sketch and Figma at the same time, especially for ongoing products that aren't the design system? Any tips for that?
Let me read it through again, because it was breaking up. Sorry. Is it lost?
Oh, again, you didn't hear me? It's the last question.
Do you have a transition period using both Sketch and Figma? Yes. So we still, a couple of team members actually using the Sketch right now, because our system is so big and robust that we cannot just stop designing, you know. So we have roadmap. We need to kind of follow the roadmap, and so we basically split some tools will be using the Figma, right? So some designers using Figma, some designers using Sketch. So it's like back-to-back thing, and we just slowly pulling designers out of Sketch and putting them to Figma. And that's a pretty interesting topic, I would say. That's like, I guess this topic deserves like another meetup, because that's the kind of thing, how you how you transition, like how the transition period happens, because especially when your team kind of need to learn a bit about Figma, right? Because not all of us like know both tools like nicely, right? So you need, even me myself, I wasn't so like I mean, I didn't have so much skills before than I have right now.
Yeah, because I think like you said, you need to have a plan, basically, because it cannot happen tomorrow we're switching to Figma and that's it. Because it takes some time to build the whole system and get the whole team on board. So it's a transition period. So
yeah, you can connect me also in Facebook, Slack. Find me in Slack, Fluxia, or Instagram.
Cool. If anyone has any one more question before we wrap up, please just put it on the chat. But so far, it was great, Sergii. Thank you so much for the presentation. I think everyone learned a lot. I did. So as I told you, let me see. Yeah, there's a lot to learn with Figma. So the computer especially. Okay, cool. Jackie, do you have any questions?
No, I'm actually fascinated. I myself learned a couple of very interesting things that are extremely useful. Documentation being one of them. So thank you, Sergii. There's so much to learn. That's why we're going to be here every month.
And the great thing, Serge, is that you were like kind of like brutally honest and saying, okay, it's not an easy thing to actually make the switch, because it takes a time. So that was really good, and I personally thank you for that, because it's not easy, but it's definitely, you need to have a plan in order to make the switch, especially if you're like in a big corporation, right? So
yes, I mean, you see that, like, I guess most people expected that I'm gonna give you some magical recipe around it, but like in real life, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I'm not only one who did it. I'm like 100% sure. And because first of all, I talked to people who already did it, and they did it kind of in my way. Some people kind of start doing with option one, start migrating, actually moving the files, cleaning them up, and then stopped on the middle and kind of gave up, and then start creating. So that's like even worse, you know. So, but anyway, it's better than, like, sooner is better.
Yep. So, well, hopefully you guys learned something today. It was very helpful. Thank you again, Sergii, for joining us tonight. It was really, really great, the whole presentation. And thank you so much. I will, of course, stop recording soon. So I will upload this video hopefully tomorrow. So if you want to go back to it, please feel free to do so at YouTube. Just find us on Friends of Figma Miami, and it will be there. So if anything else, any last regards or questions, guys? Jackie, Sergii?
I mean, I'm enjoying this time. I love the community spirit. I love that, what's happening in the chat, and thanks for your questions. I know that's like pretty challenging kind of process and time, and I wish you luck who actually going through this process, and wish you stay patient, like be patient, not take like step by step. Do not overthink. Do not overuse the variants as well, because you need to find that golden spot in the middle to kind of component. The main thing is that think about your designer when you create the component, so that's most important. Like you're thinking about your user, the same think about your designer, because for design system person, your user and your persona is the designer.
Yeah. And how long has it take you to do this kind of like switch from,
That was crazy, and that was a very ambitious goal from the management, and we did it within 3.5 weeks. That's like 95% of what you see today was done within 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty quick, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Wow. Impressive. Jackie, anything to close?
No, again, thank you so much, Sergii. Thanks, Beto, for actually putting this together. Looking forward to having you guys join us next month. And then let your friends know if anybody's interested to join our Friends of Figma Miami. We will be here. Looking forward to seeing you again next month. Thank you so much, everyone.
Everyone is so hopeful about the 3 weeks that you just...
Yeah, no, because my first design system took me like 3 months, I would say. And the second one was around a month and a half. It was just, that vibe, and we can do it. Let's do it, and boom.
It was just you, or you have other people helping you?
I had the one, my coworker, who helped me with styles a bit.
Okay.
And the documentation, like kind of putting everything together. But yeah, I mean, this was like teamwork for sure. I cannot, say that I did it only myself.
Okay.
The teamwork is very important.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So thank you so much, guys. We'll be closing, and hopefully you have a good time. And thank you, Sergii, again. So talk to you soon, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Night.